Hey everybody, it's Bill Slocum, and welcome back to my web series, An Introduction to the National Park Service, ArcGIS Online for Organizations web series. And in this video, I'm going to talk about creating a web app using templates and the web app builder. Now, a little housekeeping, neither the National Park Service nor NC services or recommend products, processes, or services. This material may not be used for advertising or product endorsement purposes. This material is intended for educational purposes only. Neither the U.S. government nor NC State University warrants or assumes any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any information, apparatus, product, or process disclosed. So we're going to be talking about web apps, and you've seen in some of my other videos how to create a web map using services that are available to you either in your content or you have added from other National Park Service layers that have been shared with the organization. And you've created a web app, and you've created some symbology, and you've customized your pop-ups so that you have a nice web map, and you want to share this with someone in your park, but you do not want them to be able to edit the web map or add layers or remove layers from your web map. So you're going to create a web app. And a web app allows you to control what the end user is going to do. So you provide them the functionality that they're going to use to navigate and use your web application. So please remember that all web applications should have a purpose. Why to create this web application? Is it just simply for a base map? Is it to assist the inventory monitoring groups during field season? That is your decision, but always create that web map first. That's where it's going to start. Make sure your map has that purpose. Make sure it looks the way it should, aesthetically pleasing. All the layers are symbolized the way that you would like, and that functionality is there so that you have those informational pop-ups that people would want to use. And with a web app, you can also add more functionality that you would like the user to take advantage of. So it all starts with that web map. So watch that video, creating a web app or creating a web map. From that web map, you're going to create a web application. Now, there are three ways that you can go about this. And this is an order that I recommend that you keep handy. The first thing you want to do is look to see if there's a configurable template in ArcGIS Online that you can use, and I'll show you how to do that. The second level of developing a web app is to develop a customized application, and you would use that through the web app builder. I will demonstrate that as well and create just a very simple web app using the web app builder. Finally, for more advanced individuals, you could build this application yourself. You would have the opportunity to download the source code of a configurable template or a web app builder code, download that to your web server environment and customize the code there, and then make that available to your users. That is beyond the scope of this, and that is typically a course that you would need to take and focus several hours on developing that code and learn how to code. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to focus on those configurable apps and that web app builder. So log into your National Park Service ArcGIS Online account through https://nps.maps.arcgis.com to get going. And I've already done that here. I've logged into my National Park Service account, and I've got my name up here. You can see I'm logged in. And I've already created a base map for Colonial National Historical Park. And in this base map, I have colonial markers, or kilometer markers, excuse me, interpretive signs, culverts, trails, and finally the park boundary. And this is just a base map that I want to share with folks in my park. So I've created my base map. I have created the layers. I've symbolized those layers the way I would like. I have created informational pop-ups so that they provide context to my features, and everything looks aesthetically pleasing. I have all the correct colors I would like and the symbology associated with that. So I have saved my map. Now, from my map, I'm going to share this as a web app. Now, there are different ways to create web apps. If I went into the item details of this web map, there would be a button to create a web app, and this would take you to the same location. But in my workflow here, I'm going to go straight from my web app, and I'm going to share this as a web app. I'm just going to create the web app. I'm not sharing it yet. I'm only simply creating that web app. Now, here is your create a new web app dialog box. And you heard me talk about configurable templates. Here they are, and I'm going to use the basic viewer in just a minute. And there's the web app builder. I will go over that. And this is an option that is new within probably the last couple of years, the operations dashboard. I'll let you explore that on your own. But let's look at the configurable app. I'm going to create a basic viewer, and you can see that there are a lot of pages of configurable apps. There is some information online about these configurable apps from Esri, so you can Google that and research that as you have time. Or you can simply browse through the different application configurable apps that they have available for you. And they're in no order, they're just all available. You could do a search if you wanted to. So let's just go with a basic viewer. And I'm going to edit or create that. Now, I'm going to give this title something a little more descriptive and say configurable app, or I want to say basic viewer. That lets me know what that is, and I should have a summary, although it says optional. Put that summary in there. You need to do that, and where you're going to save it, and you could put some tags up here as well if you would like to put tags. Tags make it easy to search and discover your content. I could assign a category. I'm not going to worry about that right now, and I'm going to say done. Now, that's going to allow me to start creating the web app. And you can see here that as time goes by, it's going to bring me up, and you have these little bars going across saying that the application is working for me as you would expect. And we'll just give it a minute. All right, here we go. My web app has been developed. You can see I've got my canvas to configure my application here. And this is the basic viewer. You can see that my web app has taken on the name of my web map. That's nice. A lot of those configurations come through for you. Remember, you saw me in another video create those configurable pop-ups, and you just saw me click on that in my web map. Well, that all translates over into my web app. So remember, make that web map look aesthetically pleasing. Give it all the pop-ups configured correctly and symbology you would like. Now, you could select a different web map if you would like to, but I'm not. I'm just going to simply keep what I have right here. And you can see that the application title defaults to the web map title, and the subtitle is an optional subset. So I'm just going to come in here and say demonstration only. Demonstration app, and just leave it at that. Now you've got an items detail page. You could have a splash screen that you could bring up. I'm not going to do that, but I'll let you look around to it. Okay, so now I've got my app. It's already starting to come in. I've got my map in there. If I wanted to change the header or any of the other aesthetics here, you could see that I could change those in the configuration pane here under theme. And I'm going to save my configurations. And you can see now that my widget, and that is where you would have functionality stored for the individuals. You can see I have some here, changes that color. I'm going to go back and just change it back to the basic black. That looks more like the customization and the National Park Service messaging theme. So I'm going to leave it as black and click Save. Okay. So I've got my theme correct. If I wanted to change the header or the icon colors or the panel background, I could change all of that as well. If I wanted to put in a title for my logo, I could do that. So you have a lot of configurations, but I'm going to stay with these defaults and click Options. Now you're going to see here where you have a lot of different options. Show pop-up content panel instead of a pop-up window. Maybe let's try that. So instead of my application pop-up happening here in the middle of the screen, let's show the pop-ups and say Save, just so you can see what that looks like. And again, this is an iterative process. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, just hitting the highlights. And now you can see that my pop-up occurs in the upper right-hand corner. So configure that the way you would like. Take some time to look at it. If you would like the base map gallery so that people could change this to maybe an imagery, you could change that. And here again with these you toggle these on and off, that would be the way to do it. So I'm going to turn on the legend and the measure tool, and I'm going to leave the print tool on. I'm just going to leave that on, and I'm going to say save. Now you'll see a search button up here, and you can configure a search if you would like to, and I will let you explore that. But right now in the search box up here we have the ArcGIS World Geocoding Service. Now if you wanted to make it so people could search the trails, the culverts, your signs or kilometer markers, you can make that searchable, and you can edit the way that is done over here. Okay, so I'm not going to work with the search options. I'm just going to leave this as the World Geocoder, and I'm going to go back to my options to make sure I have everything I want. I've got my base map, my legend, my map details here, and there's the map details. It's right there. And you have a map details where you could configure that if you would choose to. So I'm actually going to take that off. Let's just take that off. All right. And say save. Now, my web application is ready to go with the basic viewer, and if I just launch it, there's the application. This is how the application would look to your end users if you shared it, and you have in your navigational, you can zoom in up at the top, you can zoom out, you can look at the layer legend over here that popped up. I could also look at the layer list, and that allows people to turn layers on and off. So I've given them the ability to turn layers on and off, change the base map here, and also measure, and you could share this with your, hit the share button here, and you can see that you can share this with social media if that's the way you would like to do it, and you have a web link down here as well. Okay, so that is simply how to create a web app using a configurable template. There are a lot of these configurable templates out there, so take time to explore those. Okay, I'm going to close this. Now you'll see that I have my basic viewer. I need to put in a description and a terms of use. And again, it's always very important that you put in that terms of use. I have the National Park Service GIS distribution statement here. I'm going to copy that, and in my terms of use, I'm simply going to paste that. And now you can see that I have my terms of use. I've got my distribution liability. I should put in a description here, and I will use the Colonial Base Map Basic Viewer and simply edit that description there. And now I've got a lot of my metadata elements added in here, and you should configure those as you see fit. Let's go back to my content. I saved my app in my how-to videos folder. I like to use folders to compartmentalize my material. Now you saw me just use a configurable template. Let's go back to that same base map. And I am going to create a web app here, and you can see here's just another way. I've got the use a template or use the web app builder, and I'm going to use the web app builder and just say web app builder. Just so I know what I'm looking at. You would give yours a very nice descriptive name, and I'm going to save it in my how-to videos folder. So when I click OK, you can see that the interface is going to change. It's going to start loading up, and again, it's based on your panels that you can configure over here, but now I have a lot of functionality. Check out these different themes that you could use. You can see that it defaulted to the foldable theme. I'm just going to use that. If you wanted to, you could change the header up here. You have different colors that you could choose from, or you have one here where you could customize this. Okay, this one is organizationally shared, so I'm just going to click on that and use that. Okay, let's go to map. I've already got my map in here. If I wanted to choose, I could choose that, but I'm going to keep my web app or my park base map here because I want to create an application just for that. Let's look at these widgets. Here's where the power comes in. You'll have your navigational items over here. Those are pre-confined for you in this theme that I chose. And you see here that I have objects. I have widgets. I have a legend widget over here, and I have a layer list widget over here, and this is by default. I also have some areas where I could put widgets in here. So I am going to configure my web app builder. First of all, I am going to remove the layer list. I'm going to remove the legend. And I'm doing that so that I can put all of my controls in one location over here. Well, for this first widget, let's just put in an info or an about widget. And I'm going to say OK here. And now I can configure this. I'm going to take this out because this is my application and I want it to be mine. So I can here, you can see you have the ways to change your fonts and symbols, and just like you would in Word. And I'm going to say Colonial National Historical Base Map, just for kicks. Whoops, if I could spell today, that'd be great. National Historical Park Base Map. Or demo only. There, and save that. Now you'll notice I have a widget up here, and if I click on that, I can get my about. I also want to put up the legend. I want people to know what the legend is so that they can understand what the layers are. I'm not going to let them turn them on and off. I just want them to see those. So I'm going to pick the legend widget. And here you can align this. You can auto update. So as my web map changes, my web app will change automatically. I'm going to respect the current scale and show base maps legends if you want. And here are the items that I'm going to keep in my legend. I like all of that, so I'm going to just keep it this way and say OK. Now you'll see I have a legend widget. It's that simple. To make it easy for folks to get around, I'm going to use the bookmark widget. The bookmark widget's a good widget to use, and there it is there, and I'm just going to say bookmark. And we'll do cards. We'll leave it as cards. You can explore with the list if that's what you like. And you can also change these icons if you have little images. So now you'll get to define this. And I'm going to call this Jamestown Island. Jamestown Island. And I'm going to just use my extent here, and I'm just going to zoom in. And I'm going to make it so Jamestown Island fills my map viewer screen and say OK. And click OK. Now I have a bookmark widget, and if I choose my bookmarks, and you could add those for the people, you can now immediately zoom to Jamestown Island. So if you have areas within your park you would like people to zoom to immediately, you can do that by providing this bookmark widget. So let's just recap what I've done here. I've got a web map. And from that web map, I have chosen to create a web app using the web app builder. I've got the foldable theme. I'm choosing my current map, which is my colonial map. I've added some widgets up in the upper right-hand corner. I've removed widgets over on the top right so that all my controls are in one place. And finally, I'm going to work with my attribution here. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want to put a logo, you could put something here that you would like to have, but I'm going to just remove it. But you saw that I could come in and simply do a custom and upload a chosen file if that's what I wanted to do, but I'm going to take that off. I'm also going to take out with Web App Builder for ArcGIS. This is not Esri's product, this is my product. And I'm going to save that. And you'll notice now that my title bar only has what I configure it to be. Now this preview button will have a lot of the latest devices that Esri is giving you screenshots of. What is your application going to look like with these types of the mobile devices if you go out into the field? Okay. I'm going to go back to configure. I'm going to go back to my home, save this, and now I have my web app. Let's go back to my content. Oh, don't want to go to groups yet. I want to go to my content. And here are my how-to videos. And now you see that I have a web app builder and I have a basic viewer. Now, all of these are just for me because I haven't shared those with anyone. You'll learn how to share in another one of my videos. So that's all it is to create a web app. It starts with your web map. Make your web map as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Make your layers line up correctly the way you would want them so that they're layered. They don't, one layer does not inadvertently cover another layer up. Use colors that are meaningful to everybody and create those customized pop-ups. Then you can create your web app very quickly like I did. Okay, thanks a lot. And remember, use that those configurable templates in that web app builder and that operations dashboard if you would like. All right, thanks a lot. I hope you have a good day.